يا رحيم.
Welcome back to the Nafisa Dango Show. That was a very interesting conversation with Nishal Mawalal, the CEO of Sabric, definitely educating us about what to look out for as far as fraud and banking scams are concerned. So I hope that has helped you up in many directions. We're talking about moving forward, and this with me this afternoon, I have the Councilor of Ward 9 in Lenasia, Imran Moosa, who's going to be speaking to us about the recent developments that have taken place in Lenasia, and he is from the Old Jama Party. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan for having us on your radio station and giving us the opportunity to tell you more about Lenasia.
Yes, we're actually quite excited to want to hear. We were at the debate, and we were looking forward to listening to the results. And then we found out that you had won that. It's so nice. Congratulations to see you in a spot that I think is well deserved. Because we've been watching you avidly, as they say. But give us some insights. We know you've won this. We've seen you taking the oath at council. And it's been definitely a very positive journey for yourself. I think Lenasians are looking forward to something really amazing happening, because I think they're starting to see the differences in this short period of time. So talk to us about the latest developments that have been taking place in and around Ward 9.
Yes, fortunately, I've had great support from the Lenasians, and I'm proud to say, or I'm rather humbly proud to say, that due to the support, they give me so much of courage and encouragement and motivation with all the good, acknowledgement and sometimes encouragement to say, they appreciate the work that I'm doing. And obviously, there's been a tremendous backlog in Lenasia. We know that for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was time Lenasia needed a complete change and a difference in Lenasia, because Lenasia was really getting degenerated, and it needed a sort of a special touch.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, was used by the Almighty to come in at a time when Lenasia really needed that type of a special touch to make a difference in Lenasia. So I find myself in a space where, alhamdulillah, after the elections, I've had support from the people, and because of this support, it gives me more energies to actually, serve the community. And while serving the community, there is so much of enthusiasm and spirit amongst myself and the community to make the changes. So I've been running the ground, as they say, or hitting the ground in terms of so much of service deliveries, whereby, there's a lot of service delivery that, like I said, there's been a backlog. And immediately when something goes wrong in Lenasia, I immediately get it sorted out, and I'm hitting the ground. Right. And then also wherever there's problems or challenges in Lenasia, I take it and I turn it into, a positive feeling and vibe. And I've been running under under a slogan called #I Love Lenasia.
Yes.
So the #I Love Lenasia campaign is sort of, bringing a different spirit into Lenasia, where you love one another and you work together with one another and then unite with one another, immaterial of race, creed, or color.
I think that's so important that you brought that up, because the idea of it is that working in unison actually makes things a whole lot better, because what's going to happen from that, and what stems from that, is that you start understanding the plights of the people in your communities, but also they start appreciating what you're doing, because you're being proactive with it, where you're getting involved with the community as such. And I think that's what is needed out of a ward councillor, is to be able to be actively involved with community in order to be able to actually empower and uplift that community in many directions. And it's nice to see that you've been actually taking that effort and trying to turn things around there for nothing but the better.
Yes. So in the space that I'm finding myself with is that fortunately during my tenure in the last 2 months, I've been blessed from the city council for somehow, that there's a project which is called, the environmental upgrade in the CBD, which is a central business district, which is called the Top Shops area. And, have been blessed as Lenasians to have had the opportunity from the city council to execute a project, of this nature. So we got that on the one side, and we got the, upliftment of the Lenasians on the other side, whereby there's a lot of service delivery taking place on the ground. Also, the space I'm finding myself in at the moment is that, people are taking so warm that I'm getting the other ward community members contacting me for assistance on a daily basis. I've been serving the other wards as well in terms of service delivery, in as much as I'm not supposed to be. But, when they need help or they need an escalation for certain reference numbers, we assist wherever we can. And, to serve mankind, there's nothing better in feeling and satisfaction than serving.
Yeah, most
And I
definitely.
really enjoy that.
And I think that's a great thing that you're doing, because the thing is, it doesn't stop at Ward 9. I mean, people are having issues. And if you can go that extra mile and give that valuable advice that has been helping you move people in that particular ward forward, then why not implement that in other wards to be able to move the entire Lenasia itself forward, not just one particular ward? And I think that's what's phenomenal. And people are starting to notice the differences.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you, and because look, it's our neighbors at the end of the day. And just remember, there's a spillover between the other wards and my ward. So if I'm doing good to the other wards, and if I'm assisting in any way and we work together, then obviously, and like I'm saying, serving the community, they appreciate it, they acknowledge it. And internally, between myself and my creator and the community, I feel good. I feel, absolutely satisfied that, I'm managing to serve at this extent, and the Almighty is using me to maximum capacity, to the extent that I sleep very little. And I do as best as I can.
Okay, so you've given up one of your secrets there. Now, let's talk about from time of inception till now. What was it that you have done that has helped Lenasians in this particular ward?
Yes, there's so much that has happened in that I've established a lot of relationships, and I've identified all the challenges that Lenasia has. And what I've done is taken every aspect from the illegal land invasions to the, crime, corruption, and also some of the other aspects when there's emergencies like the recent dam disaster that we had. I don't know if you must have heard about it, but there was a disaster where there was floods in Lenasia.
Yes.
And, I hit the ground there on that particular day where we had to get disaster management in. But I must say again, from the community's perspective, they were so supportive in that they came out. I got a special group where it's called Efficient Support Services, and this particular group, the minute I put a call out, they actually came and they rallied and they assisted in every which way. So when there was a flood there, in terms of what had happened there was that they sent some TLB there to assist, to see how they can sort the floods out. And then also they, organized the dinghy as well. So, to help people that were stuck in their homes, old people, etc. So, these little, differences and challenges that we were facing, and solving. So my solution, my drive is that I'm solution driven. So any problem that we have in Lenasia, I try and find a solution and implement that solution. And I also try and avoid, making any type of promises to the Lenasians. So in terms of whatever I've promised to the Lenasians, I've delivered. If there was, in terms of service deliveries, if somebody had to call me, I get thousands, in fact, hundreds of phone calls daily and hundreds of WhatsApps daily to try and assist people with different types of service delivery, long outstanding service deliveries in and around Lenasia. So yes, there's a tremendous improvement, and I've been engaging with the city council, outlining all the challenges and differences. I just submitted a report to the Speaker's office as well recently, and I've had the opportunity to, for example, one of the achievements I think no councillor in the past has achieved, bringing, the different role players, especially, for example, engaging with the regional directors, with the MMCs, and with the mayor here in Lenasia. So they've all come to Lenasia in the short space of time. They visited Lenasia and had interaction with the Lenasians, which Lenasians never had the opportunity of before. So those are great achievements in that there's some kind of a relationship between the city and the Lenasians, and I think that space of bridging the gap between the community and myself as a city official and many of the other officials that we generalize to be sitting in high places like the mayor or the MMC or the regional directors, etc. We find ourselves to be now on the ground, talking to the public, understanding their problems, and attending to them as well at the same time.
Yeah,
so
it creates that trust factor and that appreciation, because they know now that the key players are actually getting involved, whereas prior to that there were no key players getting involved. There were these promises that were happening, but nothing was actually taking place in the form of action. But now what is happening is, through yourself and engaging with these key players, it makes Lenasians understand that there is so much more room for improvement and betterment as far as their communities are concerned, with the types of plights and issues that they're facing. And you've created that hope where they know now that there is definitely going to be room for improvement. And I mean, the CBD alone, as you look at it, is in such a state at the moment from what it was, and knowing that is going to be upgraded, it says a lot, because it also adds value to the property and to the area as such. And it gives people, of course, a better space to be able to go and engage in business and home and everything else that goes with it. So I think it's nice to see that there's this holistic thing taking place. Not one particular aspect of it is being dealt with, but you're looking at it from a holistic level with your key players to say, come on, take a look, this is what it is. But it's happening in the form of action, where you're bringing them into Lenasia for them to understand and see. And I think, seeing is believing, going through the experience and saying, oh my word, this is what Lenasians are going through, and this is how we need to help going forward.
Yes, absolutely. You couldn't have expressed it better. So if you really look at it, exactly the way you're saying, one of the things hitting the ground is that by bringing them, the mayor, the MMC, and some of the other role players, by letting them engage, although it's COVID time and we got to be restricted with gatherings, etc.
Yes.
The one other aspect is that when they address the public, then they obviously have to commit to the public, and it makes it easier for them to understand what the problems on the ground is. So that makes it much more easy, and hence I've opened the doors for the public of Lenasia to express themselves and find them in a space where the doors of communication is open. And I think one of the major achievements that I've achieved in Lenasia is that I've opened up doors between the public and the community, as well as myself. I'm always amenable. I never ever refuse anybody to see me or to talk to me, and always, in the space of communicating and giving information through to the community, and always showing them a commitment and a dedication of transparency, and that makes the big difference. I think,
yes, and also about identifying, the major problems in the area as such, and having to deal with that first. So it's, of course, having to identify the priority of the situations and having to deal with those situations in form of priority, I think is going to be the most important thing. And I think that's when people will start appreciating yourself and the party as such, to say that we've definitely starting to see differences. Actions, as they say, speak louder than words.
Sure, and why it makes a very big difference is, remember that there's a moral compass and a spiritual fiber as well added to this. So what happens is, whether there's sometimes, a lot that's happening in the public space is tainted with, for example, the PPE corruption that we recently heard about. But in the instance where, you've just come in people then look at you, pure, clean, and respect that space in terms of, there's an expectancy of ensuring that there's transparency and there's accountability and there's responsibility with that. So yes, alhamdulillah, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using me, and I'm happy that I'm in the space that, I'm committed and dedicated, also passionate about continuing to serve the way I am at the moment.
What can Lenasians expect from Imran Moosa going forward?
So sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What can Lenasians expect from Imran Moosa going forward?
Yes, there's so much they can expect. For example, the CBD at the moment, we've got this whole new upgrade that's taking place. I'm personally overseeing it from last week to this week. In fact, this morning I was at the parking space and ensuring that, everything is in order there. I've been having lots of meetings to ensure that particular area is not, disturbing to the residents or the businesses in and around there. But yes, the nations can expect with this new development that's taking place an economic hub for Lenasia, in the next 6 to 12 months that's going to develop under the, ward councilor of myself being the ward councilor at the moment overseeing this project. So that's the one, aspect that hopefully will be achieved. And, we're going shortly into elections again in September, probably. So Al-Jamaa will be in the space of contesting again. So that particular aspect in terms of the project that we want to see for Lenasia, come to fruition is really going to be something that, I can say in the short space of time will work, in my favor. And then also all the service deliveries that has been long outstanding. There's a huge improvement in terms of the cleanup campaign, in terms of identifying problems, in terms of the roads, the potholes, etc. So, and then also the bridging of gap between the relationships of the community getting frustrated. And we know that from a lot of articles recently that the service delivery by Johannesburg is very poor. There's a poor service delivery. But I'm engaging the community and getting them involved at ground level. And many councillors phone me and say, how do you do it during the holidays, for example? In the festive season, things are getting done. Whereas everything is closed and workers are not around, laborers are not around. But I rally the community and I engage them and I get them involved in the projects. And it makes it so much more exciting and enjoyable that we're working together. So yes, we want so much more. I want to create a lot of recreational and sporting facilities in the near future. I would like to see lots of sporting and educational facilities. I would also like to see that the youth, I've just engaged with a youth movement called the Lenasia Progressive Youth. I encourage them and they literally piggybacking on my Facebook, etc., and using me as a yardstick, to take example from. So, I'm proud, humbly proud again once more to say that they've rallied behind me as a youth movement and setting them to understand the political arena and for them to learn how important politics is and what difference they can make in their lives and the lives to come. So we need to leave a legacy for Lenasia.
I think what you just said is very important because you've identified that the youth are our future, and having to guide them from now is absolutely important. So I'm glad that you've actually gone into that space and have taken them and turned them into the types of people that you want to see as selfless and understand the plights of others in order to be able to give back. So I think that's phenomenal. What message would you like to leave us with this afternoon?
Well, the message that I would like to thank, all the community that have supported me throughout this 2 months or 3 months that I'm in, during my tenure as the ward councillor. And I really appreciate it. And I say Jazakallah khairan for all the support and all the help that has been forthcoming. It's so, heartwarming to note that, you're in a space where people are starting to acknowledge. Generally, when you do public work, you find that people don't acknowledge, they call it a thankless task.
That's
when
so
you're serving
true.
community. But I must say that, I've been blessed by the Almighty with a wonderful community that is rallying very, very well. And, I hope we continue with this relationship and we really better uplift and upgrade Lenasia to a standard of improvement where all the Lenasians will be proud that, they've left a legacy together with myself for the future.
Wow, that was amazing. Jazakallah so much for taking the time to, of course, educate us about the developments that have taken place thus far. And we wish you and your team nothing but the best going forward. There's definitely some milestones taking place in Lenasia, and we want to commend you on the type of work that you've done. Thank you so much. And as I said, best of success going forward with the Al Jabbar Party and yourself.
Jazakallah khairan for giving me the opportunity, and it was indeed a pleasure to be on your radio station. And I hope to be often on your radio station because I love to promote communication, information, and having transparency to be responsible and accountable to the communities in the near future.
We definitely look forward to that. From myself and the team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Wa
barakatuh.
alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Brother Imran Moosa, and he's the ward councillor of Ward 9 in Lenasia, giving us an update on the recent developments that have been taking place. I think one important thing that he brought to the fore was that he has bridged the gap between the key players and the community, the communication between them, which I think is absolutely imperative. We have run out of time, but I want to leave you with something this afternoon. It says the world can change quickly, and it means friends matter greatly. Alone and lonely are different. Hope matters. Learn from the past. The small moments are beautiful. Kindness is a great gift. Optimism is priceless. Be grateful for family. Heroes truly exist. Give back generously. Never stop trying. Reach out to those you love. Live with bravery. And this was written by Rachel Marie Martin, very apt for the types of situations we're in. We're saying keep the optimism going and definitely do try stay safe, follow all the regulations, do your social distancing, and take care of yourself. From myself and the team, we wish you a lovely afternoon, and we look forward to chatting to you between 2 and 4 tomorrow afternoon. From myself and, of course, my amazing team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.